This session will be recorded, so I would ask that you please keep your microphones and your cameras off, and that if you do have any questions throughout the session, that you place those in the chat box, and then we can facilitate them for you at the end of the session. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Nicola Taylor. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at ScotlandIS. ScotlandIS is a membership and cluster management organisation, and we essentially act as the trade body for the digital tech sector here in Scotland. We have 3 clusters, one of which is in cyber, one of which is in data, and one of which is in managed service provision, as well as our kind of core membership, which covers all of our technology companies across Scotland. So we've got about 1,200 organisations that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. As an organisation, we are 25 years old this year, so we are absolutely celebrating in style. And I would like to take this opportunity to let you know that tickets for our annual Technology and Leadership Conference, ScotSoft, are currently available. And this year we will be looking at the kind of last 25 years of technology and what we can expect in the next 25 years of technology as well. There's 6 streams that run throughout the day, and there's a real mix of technical and leadership style talks. If that is not enough, after the conference itself, we host our annual YSE Awards. So that's the Young Software Engineer of the Year Awards. And that will also take place at the EICC. And this year, because we are celebrating in style, we are lucky to have the fabulous Callum Beattie as our after dinner entertainment for that. What's more, if that is not enough for you, this year we are also hosting Scotland's National Innovation Summit, which has been hosted by the Scottish Government. It's the flagship event of Scotland's National Innovation Week, which will take place from the 22nd to the 26th of September. And my colleague Fiona has very helpfully popped some links into the chat for you, where you can find more information about Innovation Week and our ScotSoft conference as well. Anyway, on to the matter at hand. We are delighted to be joined by our guest speaker, Amanda Stewart, founder and Chief Technology Officer at Illuminate IT. Amanda is a respected tech leader who has spent her career helping SMEs and charities navigate the complex landscape of cloud security and AI. Today, Amanda will be bringing us a unique perspective from the role of a CISO, exploring how business can integrate AI responsibly while still protecting customers. So, without further ado, over to you, Amanda.
Thank you very much, Nicola, for that introduction. I'm just going to start my presentation, so please let me know when you can see it, so that I'm not talking to, you're not looking at a blank screen for the next half an hour.
Okay, we can see that.
Much fun. Yep. Okay, great. So I think all of us know that AI is the next revolution. And it can really be transformational for our businesses, but it has to really be approached properly. Everyone wants a piece of the action at the moment, but today I'm basically going to talk you through what you should be thinking about in your businesses before you even look at purchasing your ChatGPT or your Copilot license. So AI is definitely exciting, but with great power comes great responsibility. This is true of any technology or system we're putting in. AI is actually no different from any other IT system we're going to be putting in our businesses. But there are a number of things we need to consider in the AI systems that we create and adopt. First of all, fairness. AI should treat all individuals and groups equitably. This means avoiding algorithms that discriminate or exclude. For instance, an AI-driven loan approval system should not unjustifiably favour one demographic over another. Transparency. It should be clear when AI is being used, and its decisions should be explainable where possible. Users and stakeholders deserve to know how and why AI made a decision on them. Accountability. We must remain accountable for AI outcomes. If an AI tool makes a mistake, the organisation using it is responsible for addressing it. Privacy and security. AI must respect privacy rights and protect data. Responsible AI demands strict data protection measures. Reliability and safety. AI systems should function as intended and be tested for safety, especially if they're going to be used in critical applications. and human-centred values. AI should respect human rights, diversity and well-being. For example, an AI scheduling tool should consider employees' work-life balance rather than booking them out 24/7. So, bias and fairness. Why does bias happen? Well, AI models learn from data. If that data reflects social inequalities or underrepresentation, the AI can pick up those patterns and amplify them. Bias can creep in through biased data. For example, a voice assistant trained mostly on male voices might struggle to understand female voices. Algorithmic bias. Even with good data, the way the model is structured or optimized, for example, focusing too much on accuracy over equity, can introduce a bias. And obviously, societal bias. AI developers might unconsciously embed their own assumptions. If an AI is tasked to identify professional hairstyles and the team doesn't consider culturally diverse hair, the AI might regard some styles as unprofessional unfairly. Unfortunately, there have been many incidents highlighting AI bias. Hiring algorithms have screened out female applicants for technical jobs, one of my biggest bugbears, because the training data of successful candidates was mostly male. So the AI had learned a sexist correlation. Facial recognition systems we know have performed poorly on darker skin tones, which leads to higher error rates for people of colour. Fairness and mitigation. To combat bias, we should integrate fairness checks into our AI development lifecycle. We should be testing AI models on diverse data and auditing their outputs for bias. There are tools and techniques emerging to help with this. Some developers are now using fairness metrics and bias detection software to identify unfair patterns. But the best practice is to involve a diverse team of staff in your AI design, because different backgrounds can really spot issues that other people will miss. Regulators are also stepping in on this. The EU's upcoming AI Act will require proof that high-risk AI systems are fair. If you think about deploying an AI chatbot for customer service, for instance, which many businesses are now doing, if the chatbot was trained primarily on interactions in English, it might treat non-native English inquiries as lower priority due to different phrased messages, which would be hugely frustrating to those customers. If we can recognise that bias early, we can retrain the chatbot with a more diverse data set and add rules to ensure all customers are treated the same. Fairness is not automatic. It does require a lot of effort, but the reward is an AI that serves everyone better and enhances your reputation as a business. AI doesn't only have ethical implications, it's huge environmental footprint too. I'm sure all of you have seen these toys all over LinkedIn and Facebook in the last few months. It's an aspect that's often overlooked in the excitement of getting up and running with AI. Running AI models, especially large ones, consume significant energy and can contribute to carbon emissions and other environmental strains. Data centres, which power cloud AI services and the training of models, are major energy consumers. In 2023, data centres accounted for about 4.4% of all electricity use in the US. One of the biggest reasons for that was the rise of AI workloads. Training a state-of-the-art AI model involves running thousands of high-power processors for weeks or months continuously. The energy used by AI models often comes from fossil fuels, meaning a high carbon footprint. If global data center energy usage continues to rise, some projections warn that they could consume 20% of the world's electricity by the early 2030s, which has huge climate change implications. Also, cooling these data centers requires water. Advanced AI data centers can use vast amounts of water for cooling. And then there's also the e-waste, the rapidly upgrading of hardware to keep up with AI demands. However, the good news is that awareness is growing. Companies are researching more efficient model architectures and custom AI chips that do more computation per watt of power. There's also a push towards renewable energy. for AI computing. Some cloud data centres are already using solar or wind power. For our businesses using AI, we need to right-size our AI solutions, using it for proper business requirements, rather than just having AI for AI's sake. Responsible AI is not only saving the planet, but will also cut costs. For instance, say you build a custom AI model to recommend your products to customers on an e-commerce site. The model could be a massive success in improving your sales, but you might find that your cloud computing bill would double in a month, and your finance gets a huge electricity bill. They won't be happy about that. The best thing to do at that point would be to go back, optimise the model, carry out intensive tasks for off-peak hours when your energy is greener and cheaper. You could even mention that in your marketing, showing customers that we use AI, but we use it responsibly, working on our carbon footprint. In a world where consumers value sustainability, you can turn your efficient AI usage into a positive story about your brand. AI is like any other IT system or technology that you're implementing. You need to know why you're using it. Without a strategic approach, how do you know you're getting value and efficiency? For any AI project, ask, what specific problem are we solving, or what value are we adding? Having a focused use case prevents AI for the sake of AI. It ensures that the AI initiative is tied to business outcomes, like increasing customer satisfaction or reducing manual work by 50%. Most of us don't have lots of time or resources to spare, so instead of saying we want AI in our company because it's what everybody else is doing, change the discussion to we want an AI system to handle after-hours customer inquiries so customers get quick answers and our team don't have to work after hours. Begin AI adoption with a pilot project. If it delivers positive results, it builds momentum and justification to invest more money and resources, and it also allows you to learn and make mistakes on a small scale. For instance, a shop might try an AI tool that predicts stock for a few products only. If it prevents overstocking and saves money, then it can justify expanding using that AI tool for a full stock management system. The use case should align with your strategic business goals or pain points. If customer service is a pain point, you could use AI as a chatbot or to analyse support tickets for common issues. If marketing is a headache, AI can help segment customers or personalise email campaigns. Always tie the AI project success criteria to something your business cares about. For instance, reduce response time from 24 hours to 1 hour, or increase click-through on marketing emails by 10%. Do you know if and how your staff are currently using AI? Even the best AI tool won't succeed if your people don't understand it or are worried about it. Making your staff aware of what AI is and isn't is crucial for proper adoption. Many employees might have misconceptions about AI. AI is a robot that will take over my job, or I'm not technical enough to work with AI. It's important to explain AI in simple terms. For instance, clarifying that most AI today is narrow and task-specific. So it's great at specific things like sorting emails by topic, but it's not a human-like mastermind that's going to take over the world. Reassure them that the AI is a tool or a smart helper, not a replacement for human creativity and judgment. It's natural for staff to worry about how AI might change their jobs. If you openly address these concerns when you're introducing an AI tool and tell them that it will reduce boring work, not eliminate the need for decision making, they will become more enthusiastic and their understanding will increase. Transparency is key. Share the goals of your AI project and how it will affect day-to-day operations. Provide basic training sessions or workshops about AI. Everyone should know what AI can do, what its limitations are, and how to interpret the outputs. When possible, include staff in the AI adoption process. So if you're rolling out an AI tool for customer support, include a few support agents in the testing. Their feedback can identify issues that you probably hadn't thought about and also turn them into AI champions in your business. People are always more supportive of changes if they've had a hand in shaping them. Leadership should champion the AI vision and communicate it really clearly. You should communicate the benefits of AI and address any concerns. Leaders need to emphasise not just the what and how, but the why. For instance, we're adopting AI to help you focus on high-value work and reduce the tedious stuff, and here's how we'll support you through the change. When employees see managers taking their concerns seriously, it builds trust. One of our clients wanted to use an AI route planner to save fuel and time. Before deploying it, they held a lunch and learn session. One of their drivers shared a story. Last winter, I tried planning deliveries, but there was a crash on the M9. It took me 3 hours and I still missed a customer. If I'd had this AI helper back then to quickly reroute around congested roads, I'd have finished in just 30 minutes and made all my deliveries. So what they did was they framed AI as the hero of the story. And this made it more understandable and less of a technology. The team were more excited about it and they understood the human benefit, not just the technological improvements. AI often needs data, lots and lots of it, to function well. But using data, especially personal or sensitive data, comes with a massive responsibility. And data and security responsibilities in particular. We need to be thinking of data protection laws, customer trust, and the risks of data breaches or misuse when we're implementing AI. AI systems differ quite a lot from traditional software in how they handle data. They tend to be really data hungry, which means that they require vast data sets to learn patterns. Also, AI models can act as black boxes. It's not always obvious what they've learned from the data. And another problem is data persistence. Information used in AI training can remain in the model's memory. Many AI services are also cloud-based, meaning data is sent to an external provider's server for processing. These are all factors that raise unique privacy challenges that we all need to be mindful of. According to a 2024 survey, 67% of small business owners worried about data privacy when implementing AI, but only 23 have formal policies to address it. Some typical privacy issues include unintentional data leakage. For example, an employee might feed a confidential document into a generative AI system to get a summary, not realising that content could be stored on external servers. This happens so much in real life. There are lots of cases where staff have pasted sensitive HR information or business sensitive information into ChatGPT. Unauthorised data reuse. Some AI vendors might use the data you provide to improve their models for other customers, unless you explicitly opt out. This could mean your business data ends up training someone else's AI. Always read the fine print of your AI service agreements to prevent this. Often paid for AI tools are less likely to do this and be more secure than the free ones, but not always, so please check. Bias and privacy. As mentioned earlier, biased data is a problem, but it's also a privacy concern if it leads to unfair treatment of protected personal attributes. Privacy regulations consider discriminatory outcomes as harms to individual rights. Insufficient access control. I've seen this all the time. Ensure you know which employees in your business have access to what. Otherwise, AI and its outputs could give staff access to information you don't want them to have. Excuse me. For instance, if an AI analyzes HR data on salaries, that should be protected. You don't want everyone in the company seeing it. We also can't ignore regulations like GDPR. Under GDPR, if your AI makes automated decisions affecting individuals, people have a right to an explanation of the decision, and you must ensure the processing is fair and transparent. It also mandates only using data that's necessary and not repurposing that data for something the user didn't agree to. You should map out what personal data your AI uses and make sure you have consent or a legal basis to use it. Develop a clear data privacy policy for AI use. This policy should detail what data you collect, how AI processes it, who has access, and how you protect it. Most small firms lack this policy. Creating one is an absolute first step. Anonymise or aggregate data where possible. If you can achieve your AI output with less personal data, do it. Secure your data pipeline. Ensure data is encrypted when stored and transmitted to AI systems. Limit API keys and credentials to only those who need them. And make sure you perform regular security testing, because an unsecured AI server could become a new cyber attack surface. Have a human in the loop for sensitive decisions. If AI is used in a way that impacts someone's rights or sensitive information, keep a human reviewer involved. This isn't just ethical best practice, it can also be required by law. GDPR discourages fully automated decisions without human oversight in high-stake cases. A recent example of this was an online retailer using an AI chatbot on their website to handle customer queries. Overnight, the database had a misconfiguration which caused chat transcripts, which included customer emails and order details, to be exposed. The end result was that the customer lost trust and they faced fines under GDPR. The retailer was pretty good though and took immediate action. They temporarily took the chatbot offline, notified the affected users and hired a security expert to audit their systems. They also implemented a new rule. Sensitive data like customer addresses should be masked or not stored in full by the AI system. You need to have an AI policy and a set of guidelines and rules that govern how AI is adopted and used within your business. Customers, partners, or employees will feel more confident knowing you've thought these issues through. A policy also ensures consistent decision-making about AI. Without it, one department might deploy an AI chatbot that handles data one way, while another uses a different approach, which leads to inconsistency and a whole lot of risk. With the policy, everyone is on the same page. It's essentially a roadmap or framework that guides your organisation in adopting and managing AI responsibly. It typically addresses several key areas. Ethical guidelines to ensure AI systems are used fairly and avoid harm. This might mention values like fairness, transparency, and accountability. Data management protocols, how you handle data for AI, ensuring privacy, security, and integrity of data used by AI systems. Legal and regulatory compliance, steps to comply with AI-related laws and regulations that are coming. It might also need to state that high-risk AI applications, like anything in recruitment or finance, will undergo extra compliance. And it also covers GDPR whenever AI uses personal data. AI system testing and validation. Requirements for testing AI systems for accuracy and reliability before and using deployment. Deployment and usage guidelines. Who can use AI tools and for what purposes? It should include guidelines for employees on using external AI services. For instance, do not input confidential client data into free AI tools without approval, which prevents data leaks. It also sets responsible use standards, so no using AI to violate privacy or to automate decisions that affect employees without a human overseeing. Accountability and oversight. Create an AI policy officer or assign the job to a governance team in your business to enforce your policy. And think about how the issues will be reported and handled. So, how do we create this policy? Well, firstly, you need to gather a team. That will include IT, legal, operations, and possibly external AI experts, if there is such a thing, or consultants. Brainstorm what AI means for your business and what risks, benefits need addressing. Define your principles and scope. Decide on the core principles and clarify where the policy applies. This could be internally developed AI, third-party AI tools, or both. Plan to review the policy regularly, at least annually, as AI is evolving really fast. Train and communicate. Make sure employees know the do's and don'ts when using AI on your job. Your policy might not allow using unvetted AI tools and customer data. Employees need to be aware of the rules. company's AI is only as good as the data, so ensuring your data is ready and secure is crucial. Many AI projects fail not because the AI doesn't work, but because the data feeding it is rubbish. We all know rubbish in, rubbish out, so think, are our data records accurate and up to date? Remove duplicates and mistakes. Are the data sets comprehensive enough? Do we have all the information in there to make the AI worthwhile? Ensure everyone using data fields are using them in the same way. For example, client in one database could include former clients and in another it might not. AI systems will double count or confuse active versus inactive clients in that instance. Establish data definitions and standards across the organisation. Having someone to champion correct data underpins success. Addressing issues like missing values or inconsistent formats before you feed data into an AI will save problems later. It might sound tedious, and it is, but it's essential. Data security. AI often requires gathering data from various sources. This can make for a great target for hackers, if not properly protected. So store it securely with encryption, limit access to who should have the access, mask or anonymize sensitive personal information wherever possible. Also consider where the data is being processed. If using a cloud AI service, ensure the vendor has strong credentials, security credentials, and compliance certifications, etc. Conduct a basic risk assessment. Think, what's the worst that could happen if this data leaked or was tampered with, and then plan accordingly. The absolute best approach is to carry out a data readiness assessment before heavy AI work, with questions like, do we have the AI needed for the AI outputs we envisage, or do we have to start collecting new types of data? Is our data stored in a way that's accessible? Sometimes data sits in paper files or in an old system. Are there privacy or compliance steps needed before we start using this data? For instance, do we need to redact customer names or get consent for using their data in a new way? So the lesson is, if you want smart AI, give it good data. Otherwise, it will get things wrong. Despite best intentions, AI can sometimes behave in very unexpected ways, giving unintended consequences. Being vigilant and prepared to address them is the final piece of responsible AI adoption. So start with validation and testing. Before rolling out an AI system, test it rigorously for accuracy and performance. Does the AI perform its intended task correctly? Measure its accuracy against humans as a baseline, always. Bias and fairness. As we've discussed, try the AI on subgroups of data to see if there are problems. If an AI is used for hiring, ensure it's tested with CVs from diverse groups to catch any bias early. Stress testing. Put AI in difficult situations. For example, feed unusual inputs to a chatbot to see if it gives inappropriate answers. That could save a massive PR headache in the future. User acceptance testing. Have staff use the AI in real conditions and gather feedback. They might spot usability issues or misinterpretations that have been overlooked. Importantly, define what success and failure look like before you start your testing. If AI doesn't meet the criteria, it should go back to development, not go into production. Have some human oversight and kill switches. Always keep a human in the loop. For example, if you're using AI to draft emails to clients, perhaps they should be reviewed by a person. As trust in the system grows, you might reduce that oversight, but it should never fully go away. Always have a fallback plan. If the AI goes wrong, what do you do in that instance? What should employees do? Some organisations implement a literal kill switch, a process to quickly disable an AI system if it starts behaving dangerously or erroneously. And monitoring and continuous improvement. Once AI is deployed, set up monitoring as part of normal operations. Track metrics over time. Maintain logs of the AI's decisions if possible, so you can audit them if a question arises. And ask for feedback from users. If employees or customers are interacting with the AI, have a channel for them to report issues or suggestions. And then plan periodic re-evaluation, you need to make sure it still works as your conditions change. Despite all precautions, AI can still have side effects. It can make errors at a vast scale. A flawed AI could replicate the same mistake thousands of times before detection. For example, an AI content filter accidentally blocking all emails of the word Tuesday could disrupt a lot of communication before it was noticed. AI can also change people's behaviour in unexpected ways. If an employee starts relying on AI, they might lose some of their own skills. How many of us can't live without sat-nav? I haven't read a map for years, which is fine until I go somewhere where there's no signal and I don't have a map in the car. There can also be lots of broader social impacts. An AI that optimises for efficiency might inadvertently reduce the personal interaction that were valuable to customers. It removes the human touch that customers cherish, and it can actually affect your loyalty. If an AI with bias slips through, it can effectively cement bias into thousands of decisions. So be careful of that. Security vulnerabilities. Clever adversaries are already finding ways to trick your AI or untrained staff to uploading sensitive data. The other thing we can do is to learn from failure stories. Many companies have learned the hard way. We all know about Microsoft's chatbot. It's a completely famous example. It was released on Twitter, and within 24 hours, it started spewing hateful, offensive messages because trolls had intentionally taught it bad behaviour. That's not going away anytime soon. Governance and reset mechanisms. Ensure you have a governance process in place, meaning that there are eyes on the AI at all times. And if something goes wrong, pause the AI, communicate it to affected parties and fix the issue. It's better to pull a problematic system temporarily than let it continue causing damage. Plan for incident response. Exactly the same as you'd handle a data breach or a major AI outage. You should include your AI incidents too. Adopting AI into your business is a journey filled with opportunities and lots of responsibilities. By focusing on responsible AI practices, actively addressing bias and fairness, considering the environmental footprint, ensuring projects have strong business cases that align with business strategic goals, investing in awareness and training for staff, safeguarding privacy and data, and implementing solid strategies, policies and data management, you will be on the front foot. Crucially, have a plan. The curve jumpers that are going to benefit most from AI are those that have a strategy. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Amanda. That was really good. A great session. I really appreciate you doing that for us this morning. The floor is now open for Amanda to answer any questions that you have, but I'm going to kick things off if that's okay, because I've got a bit of a question around, you touched on obviously the kind of human element of kind of AI and kind of bringing people along with you on that journey. So kind of, bringing people with you rather than doing things to them.
Yeah.
So how can you go about kind of building a culture within your kind of organization that encourages that kind of brings people on that journey with you?
Well, it has to start from the very top leadership to start with. So, if you hear in team meetings that the management are taking everybody's concerns seriously and understanding that not everybody understands it, lots of people are scared of it, if they get that warm and fuzzy feeling from the entire management team, they're going to feel a lot more relaxed and understand. And as I said in the presentation, bring people along for the ride, get people that are champions, find people internally that are slightly interested, encourage that, and you'll be surprised at some of the ways that, some of the good and bad ways that people are using AI in your organizations already. Yeah. I'm so surprised by how few businesses know how their staff are using AI, or even if they're using AI. Yeah. It's interesting, but I think it really comes from a culture from the top down and involving people.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. There's a question in the chat here that says, kind of going back to biases, what approaches can smaller organisations take to identify and mitigate bias in kind of any of the AI systems that they might be using?
I think it's just speaking to different people, because we don't always understand. A lot of bias is unconscious. So speak to other people, just sense check what you're doing with somebody else. Peer groups are a great way to do that, but also just chatting to anybody, your family or other people that may be from different cultures or different religious groups or whatever it is, just to pass that by. I mean, we all know that social media is so bad for having a lot of bias, that we all have to check our sources, and there's lots of different ways to do that. You can also sometimes use ChatGPT or some AI to help you with that as well. Sort of plug it in and say, this is a bias. This is something that I think might be biased. Can you give me some viewpoints? But always double check your sources, especially when you're using AI.
Wonderful, thank you. I can see somebody frantically typing in the chat box there, but I have another one to kind of keep us going in the short term. So obviously you talked about the importance of data quality, and I think kind of everybody knows that now. You're exactly right, kind of rubbish in, rubbish out. But what kind of approaches then do you or can you suggest for organisations to take so that they can ensure that their data is AI ready, so to speak?
Yeah, it's a really dull, boring process that is just about going through all line by line. I mean, GDPR has a great kind of data protection impact analysis, which basically shows you where all your data is being held and what's held in all of that data. It's a really boring, long process. But if people are doing GDPR right, you're going to know where a lot of your data is already stored, what's being stored, and how people are using it. So that's a good place to start with. But if you don't have that, it's kind of talking to different stakeholders within different organizational groups in your company and saying, right, well, how do you use this? Are you using it in the same way as this other department are using it, and kind of sense check that way? But you need somebody, one person or one department in your organization that is controlling that. Because if you've got too many people involved, you'll never actually get traction on it.
Yeah, we've got a question in here from Paul Rattray. So the cost of experimenting with AI seems prohibitive, so excludes smaller businesses from experimenting, which I totally agree with. Is there an easy in to get started?
It depends on what you're looking to do with AI. I think if you're looking to create something really custom, like a custom application, or something that's going to make a massive business impact, then I agree it's really prohibitively expensive. But there are many ways that you can use AI cheaply, just for things like checking over text and emails and getting a feel for what it can do, and using likes of Microsoft Copilot. The Microsoft Copilot you can use has a lot of security built around it, so you can use that to a certain extent safely, depending on, just be careful what you're putting into it, anonymize stuff as much as possible. So you can get a feel using Copilot and Copilot Studio of what it is capable of. And also, find out how your competitors are using it, find out how, use them as almost a case study. I'm very much of the opinion that with all new technology, you don't always want to be the first one over the parapet. So I think a little bit about AI is a bit like any other IT system. It's kind of sit back, let others make the mistakes, and then find a system that does what you want it to do. But yeah, I mean, anything that's big major company changing will be expensive at the moment, but the costs, as with all technology, will come down.
Will come down eventually. Yeah, no, that's fair. Thanks, Amanda. So we've got another question here that says, kind of given the nuances of individual ethics, how do you ensure that the ethics adopted align with organisational strategy? Is there a resource that can kind of clarify the correct terminology, or is that down to each organisation?
Yeah, I think it's going to be down to your own spin on that. Again, it kind of goes back to bias. What you think is going to be different from somebody else. So I think just having a discussion within the organisation and look at your sort of mission statement and your own kind of internal ethos to decide, you know, what those ethics are going to be and kind of use it that way. Because everybody has different things that, you know, some people are more interested in the environmental impact, some people are more interested in the ethics. So it really comes down to each individual business and to what is more important to them.
Yeah,
I hope that answers the question. That's maybe not very clear.
It was a difficult question, I think, as well,
Yeah.
Amanda, because, you know, I think you're right. There's so many different ways that people can, and people's ethics differ so greatly as well. From your kind of perspective as a CISO, what do you think are the most overlooked risks when it comes to AI and data security?
If almost without fail, every single business that we've worked with is walking into AI blindfolded. They have absolutely no idea if and how their staff are using it. They have no clue what data is being put up there. There's a lot of shadow IT that they have no idea people have. There's no governance around it. So I think the most important thing is for IT to get a real handle on that governance and sit back and speak to the leaders of the business and say, we need to get a control of this, otherwise we are going to have a GDPR nightmare. And that is the most important thing. It's really boring. Nobody wants to talk about governance. Nobody wants to put that kind of stuff in place, but it's really essential. Everybody that I've talked to, every customer I've talked to has had a light bulb moment when I've kind of said, what are your staff doing? Oh, I don't know. So, you know, we wouldn't do that with anything else in our business, so don't do it with AI.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So just a reminder, everybody, that if you do have any questions for Amanda, you can pop them into the chat box there and we'll get them asked for you. I'm sure Amanda will be more than happy for you to reach out to her directly, though, should you have any burning questions that you might be too shy to ask in front of an audience today. I certainly have one last question, but before I kind of move on to that, Amanda has kindly agreed to kind of summarise her slides from today into a helpful one-pager. So when we have that, we will share that with the audience along with the recording of today's session, should you have missed any of it. I can see that there's another something happening in the chat here as well just now, Amanda, so I'll hold off on my burning question.
Yeah, I think the other thing is also I'd be really interested to get everybody else's opinions on what I've talked about, because as I said in my talk, there's no such thing as an AI expert. We're all working through it as best we can, and seeing it from different views. So I'm really interested in people's opinions and thoughts, and you know, as well, if they don't agree, quite happy to hear that kind of stuff as well. So
yeah, excellent. So if anybody wants to pop any comments into the chat, then you can do that now. Equally, if you wanted to pick up with Amanda and have a more detailed conversation, then you're welcome to do that as well. Oh, I've met somebody in now. Hi George. You have missed the presentation portion of the webinar, but we have recorded it, so we will be sharing it with the audience afterwards. So that's no problem at all. We'll get that done for you. We are just in the process of kind of asking questions of our wonderful host Amanda Stewart. So if there's anything that you would like to ask, you can pop that in here. Another question that has just appeared into the chat box just now, though, is so what kind of policies should SMEs prioritise when it comes to staff use of AI tools? You kind of touched on a few different policies as part of your presentation there, but what would you say were the kind of main ones that SMEs particularly should be looking at for staff usage?
Well, the number one is just responsible use of it. So, and it all ties back to what people are using it for and how they're using it, and just decide as a business how you want people to use it. And it might change over time, because obviously AI is changing over time, but just have a basic policy, a bit like an IT usage policy that says, you know, you must not put customer data up into the cloud without approval. You know, these are the tools you can and can't use. Just a very basic these are the rules around using AI, and we've got 2 or 3 different versions if people are looking for a basic policy. Obviously check it with your lawyers, but I've got a basic template if anybody would like one that we use, so happy to share that as well.
That's very kind, because I think in a lot of instances it's that knowing where to kind of start and what that kind of looks like. So having a template is really, really useful, and actually segues quite nicely onto my kind of burning question that I had. If you were working with an organisation and they were literally starting from kind of zero, what's the kind of 3 bits of advice that you would give them as to kind of getting on that kind of AI journey within their businesses, kind of around forming strategy and all that kind of things? What's the kind of 3 bits of main advice that you would give to somebody looking to start that journey?
I think, first of all, find out how staff are using it and why they're using it, and create a policy around that. Secondly, think about things that are causing frustration in their business that they'd like to improve, and then talk to other members of different teams and think about potential AI technologies that might work. Go out to market, see what tools are already out there rather than trying to implement something from scratch. That's probably the first where I would start, but my first issue would definitely be plugging the gaps. But that's coming from my security my security head. It would definitely be find out what's happening first.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Amanda, and great advice. No other questions in the chat just now, so just one final call to anybody. If you do have any questions or queries or anything for Amanda, now is your time to get that into the chat box there. But if nothing else comes in, then I obviously want to say a huge thank you again, Amanda, for your presentation. It was great. And thank you to those of you who have asked questions as well. I am sure there will be others, but sometimes people prefer to do that on a one-to-one basis, and that's absolutely fine. We can certainly share Amanda's details with you all when the session has finished. So one final reminder that the session has been recorded, and we will share the link with you all when that is ready. Amanda has kindly agreed to pull together that kind of one-pager synopsis of everything that was covered off in her presentation as well. So I think that will be a helpful reference point for everybody to go back to as well. So when they are ready, we will share them with you all along with Amanda's details. And if anybody wants to pick up with her directly, then please feel free to do that. Equally, we're happy to facilitate questions through ourselves as well, if that would be your preferred route. But once again, a huge thank you, Amanda, for joining us today and for your presentation. It's greatly received. And obviously, with a captive audience, it would be remiss of myself not to do one final reminder that our ScotSoft tickets are currently available if anybody would like to join us on the day or pick up and have a bit more of a conversation around what's actually involved in the day and how you can get involved in it. Happy to do that as well. But a huge thank you to everybody for joining us today, with the biggest thanks going to Amanda, and we will get all of the information and the recording shared with you as soon as they are ready. Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Amanda. Lots of